It's Laura Eubanks of Design for Serenity with your succulent tip of the day, and I am with our esteemed homeowner and lord of the castle, Nate, and we are going to go through this garden. He's got a lot of questions about the plants. He's newer to succulents, and he's got a very inquiring mind. So I thought this would be a really great opportunity to share with you some questions that you may have. So let's do it, shall we?
Sounds good. Well, thank you, Laura, first of all, for the whole garden.
You're so welcome.
And I thought we'd start here. Greg was here when I first saw this. And wow, when I walked around the corner and saw this, and I know that you talk in your videos about 3 dimensions and raising elevation, but I didn't appreciate it till I was here. So I absolutely love the Draco, and I know that I can't learn every name of every plant, but I thought I'd just learn the highlights. Also, I love the rocks and later how they fit to get so well together with the lines, and then you had told me that you put tapes and selected them all. So I really am appreciating that and loving it for the last few days. But also tell us also if there's any tips with care that we should be aware of. But maybe start with the Draco and any things about that, and then that I guess there are 2 similar plants, and then there's that little small plant underneath it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, for those of you just tuning in, it just occurred to me that people will be watching this video a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, and they're like, where are they and what's the context?
Right.
We are in San Diego in Del Mar Highlands, and this is an installation that myself and Team DFS installed just last week. We are currently working on the front yard, so we thought we'd take a minute in the back to explain what's going on here. So we have the Dracaena Draco. The Dracaena Draco, this is a fantastic option for people that want a big, meaty shade tree. We did irrigate it liberally so that it will grow quite rapidly. Dracos can reach 30, 40, 50, 60 feet in height, and then as they get a little older, they start to branch. So you get this fantastic canopy for shade. The beauty of the Draco is it's a clean plant. It's not going to create a mess. You're not going to have a bunch of little things flying off that you have to pick up off the ground.
How can you what would something that would cause concern when looking at the Draco?
Something that would cause concern when looking at the Draco,
And what could be mistaken as a concern?
I don't know with the Draco that there could ever be any concerns. One thing that people that are new to succulents, they panic if the underleaves start to turn brown. But that's normal deciduation. That's normal. As the tree gets older, these are the oldest leaves, and they will start to die off. That's how you establish a trunk. So don't panic if these underleaves start to turn brown. They come off so easily. It's when the brand new growth comes out brown that we need to call 911. But as long as the browning is happening from the bottom, we should be good to go.
How do you trim the Portulacaria?
The Portulacaria afra, this is my favorite succulent ground cover because it's absolutely bulletproof. There are other succulents that we can use as a ground cover, but they're not as tough. This thing, you can't kill it. It's not prone to disease or pest infestation, and once established, it grows really, really rapidly. It will cascade down over these rocks. It'll go that way, it'll go this way. Left unchecked, this thing can easily get 6 feet wide.
Wow.
But you don't want that. So you take your little clippers and you treat it like you would a haircut. Yeah. You just trim where you don't want it. As simple as that.
You will not kill the plant.
You won't kill it.
Yeah.
And you can almost stand here and watch it grow. So if you make a mistake and you cut a little too deep, or you've got a hole, it's fine. It'll all come back.
I had one question back about the Draco. When it branches, do you just leave it alone and let it branch? Yeah.
Yep. It's so interesting.
Yeah.
You'll just love it. Yeah, this is a plant that will never need trimmed or pruned. You're never going to need a tree service to come in. You just let it go. Let it do it.
And this little guy back around here.
Yes, the Mangave. This is this a lavender lady? I think this is lavender.
It's purple. It's not purple people eater.
No, I don't think it's purple people eater. I think it's lavender lady. The little Mangave, this is a cross between a Manfreda and a Mangave. Now, as you know, agaves are monocarpic plants, and when they bloom, they die, which is why I don't use very many of them. This is a cross, and it will bloom, but it won't die. the mother will start to fade, but she throws off so many pups all the way around the base that they just kind of absorb her. So it will keep on going and slowly start to spread and become a low profile, much wider plant. In 3, 4, 5 years from now, we might look at it and go, we need to shrink this plant back. So we will just take some pups. You can see them down here. Those just crack right off. And that's how you prune a mangave, is you just take from the outside and shrink her back. And then you have little mangaves to share with neighbors and friends.
You won't have to touch that.
Yeah, we'll do it.
And I remember growing up, we had some, I think they were cactus that would bloom every 2 years. Are there,
Biennials.
do we have any like that here?
Your cactus, all of them should bloom every single year and at different times. So there's always something going on. Even the barrel cactus get really beautiful yellow straw flowers all around the top of the plant.
Right.
You'll see some of your barrels, I believe out front, have some dried or dead flowers.
Yeah.
They're not always willing to pop off until they are. So it's just a housekeeping thing. You can take your clippers and just, take off those
Right.
spent little flowers, or not.
Or a broom. You can just take a broom and like whack at it.
Yeah, you can whack at it, or you
fall
do whatever you want, or not. You can let it ride too. Now this little mammillaria, I was telling Mary Lee,
Yeah.
this is one of my favorite plants
I know,
right
we've
now.
seen you.
Obsess about them. They get the cutest little rings of flowers all around the crown. It's kind of like the chino
Right.
cactus. And this will also grow more out than up, but they are a little sensitive to water. So you don't want to put the hose on it. Rain is fine, but don't intentionally hit it with additional water. We have not irrigated the cactus, any of them. And that's on purpose.
Now, I'm kind of heading over there because that's a fascinating plant, and there's so many other, this is so beautiful here, how this one has opened up. So is this the same as that one that was over there, but more closed in? This one?
That is an echeveria. So that's a completely different animal. This is considered a soft succulent. And we'll point out other echeveria as we go, but that is not the same
As this
as
one?
this. That's that's a different variety though.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh, that is an etch. I
Yeah.
thought you were talking about.
Yeah, I
no,
thought you were talking about the
yeah.
mangave.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is secunda, I think. But the echeverias, they are, I would call this, if I didn't know, a gibiflora hybrid, because that's what it is. They're all hybridized, so it's hard to know sometimes the cross.
Right.
Some are copyrighted and patented, and we do know,
wow.
like the Sahara. But this guy will throw off long flowers that are really beautiful. The hummingbirds, the bees, they adore them. When they're spent, just cut them off. This is a repeat bloomer.
Yeah, it'll bloom often.
Yep.
I wanted to look at this. I don't know what adjective I could use.
Jurassic.
That's a good adjective.
What can you tell me about this one?
Yes, this is Kalanchoe bayerensis,
And it's soft.
and its common name is felt plant, and it will get quite big. Left to its own devices, it becomes a very large bush. It's really easy to maintain. This is the softest wood in the world. So if a branch throws off in a weird direction, just trim it. Again, can't kill it, and you can take your cuttings and stick them in the ground. Not here. Oh, that's a rule.
Yeah.
Do not get creative with taking pieces of things and sticking them around. Don't do that. I will be very upset. You can give them away, or you can start a garden of death, but don't elaborate in the design space, because this is done very specifically, not just to enjoy now, but I'm thinking toward the future. And I know what this garden's going to look like in a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10.
Right.
And I do, you know who you are, occasionally have clients that get a little creative and decide, oh, I'm going to add this, 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 and that. And then when I go to do maintenance, it's a jungle, and I don't even recognize it. So don't do that.
Got it.
Okay.
Yes, sir, ma'am.
Yes, sir,
What-
ma'am. I like that.
And this one?
This is Synandenium grantii, called coat of many colors is the common name. And it is in the euphorbia family. It's got that white milky sap that you have to be careful not to get in your orifices or eyes. It can burn. And it's another one that if it's happy, and that's a big fat if, I hope and pray that it's going to be happy here, it'll just thrive and become a giant bush as well that we'll just intentionally trim to maintain the shape. Because this can get 8, 10, 12 feet tall by as wide left alone as well. But it is also a subtropical, and if temperatures drop much below 40 degrees, it could drop all its leaves. Not a panic. They'll come back.
What does subtropical mean?
It just means that it doesn't like temperatures below about 40 degrees. They go dormant. They panic. They circle the wagons.
Weather is what they
Yeah, and they button up their coats and say, nope, we'll see you when it warms up. So all leaves gone. But this protected little corner of the yard right here, I'm hopeful it'll keep its
Now, I was making my way over there, but I saw this beautiful green that's slightly, I don't know what it is about this green that's a little bit different than some of the other greens, or maybe it's the proximity to the purple. But what is this one?
You know, I'm glad that you picked up on that, because I do love green. It's my favorite color, and I planted this as a symphony of green. If you look, they're all different types and shades and textures of green. This is an Aeonium Merlot, and you have some Aeonium Urbicums in the front yard. Do we have any other Aeoniums in this garden, Han? I don't see any. Aeoniums are summer dormant, and they can get a little scraggly. So I like the Merlot because it is bred to keep its bushy shape. Even in the summer, it probably won't look much different from that. So it's a really good one. It's rather slow grower, also a monocarpic plant. It'll throw off a yellow bloom spike and die. But don't panic, because there are probably 50 rosettes on this clump, and if one throws off a bloom spike, that does not impact the rest of the plant. So you should have Merlots for a long, long time.
And what is this beautiful, interesting
the
plant?
Euphorbia trigona. This is a relative to that Synodenium grantii in the corner, in that it also carries that white sap. And this plant is a rather slow grower. Here's its leaves, which is hilarious. That's pretty much all it does. This doesn't get any kind of a flower. I had a client send me a picture of this on their plant and ask me if they should be concerned. This is called corking, and it's very common in some cactus and euphorbias. This is just age. It's not damaged. It's not sick. There's nothing wrong with it. This is just a sign of it being around for a hot minute. And this is another one that we will keep an eye on. In 10 years' time, decisions might have to be made about it, maybe not, because it has pretty much all these plants have the potential to get giant. But the beauty of succulents, unlike oak trees, is that we can dig them up, move them around, hack them apart. Makes no difference. They don't care. So we can pretty much get away with anything anywhere we want.
How big do you think these might?
The Pilosoceras azuris, my favorite cactus, because they are impossibly blue. I have mine in my garden in a pot, is about 6 to 7 feet tall, I would say.
A larger pot than this?
No, absolutely doesn't need a larger pot. These roots, meh. So they'll grow, it'll get that tall in this pot. No problem.
We'll be very happy there too.
Yes.
Cool. And I heard you had mentioned, we were talking about this tree with a giant, I don't know what you call this, a bulb?
It's called a caudex. Caudex. And the common name, that's a Baccarnia recurvata, common name elephant's foot. Not to be confused with elephant's food, which is the Portulacaria. But elephant's foot, that's where it stores all of its water. So there's no irrigation. I don't like irrigating pots. One, I don't like the way it looks when there's tubes running all over the place, and oftentimes they get too much water. This is a perfect plant for a pot for 2 reasons. One, this foot can get this big, and we don't want that here. And 2, it doesn't need a lot of care or water. It's pretty bulletproof, so it's a perfect thing to put in a pot. If in the summertime you slop a little water on it, great.
Yeah.
The leaves will get kind of dusty and grimy, but you don't need to intentionally, oh, I've got to water the Bacarnia. That day will never come. So it's a great one for the pot.
What are these fun-looking little critters here?
That's called a cotyledon. And the cotyledons, I've used a lot of them because they are a succulent, almost like a shrub. The flowers are meh, they're okay, kind of like white little snowflakes. But it's grown more for its texture and as sort of a supporting cast. It's not the star, but it lends texture and interest, and it's really, really tough.
Cool. I'm learning so much. And this, let me guess, this will stay small?
Yes and no. That's a euphorbia snowflake. Isn't it cool? I love this plant so much, and it does grow, but it's not going to get this tall.
Right.
I've never seen one taller than this. And it's slow, but it just does what you see. It just throws off little plantlets all around its base, and just becomes more and more interesting over time. Really, really tough, resilient plant.
And these two little critters, they don't need water either?
No, those were your wife's. They were in pots.
Oh,
and I
that's
put them
when we bought.
into
Oh, cool.
this adorable or lovely concrete. Where did you get that? Do you know?
It was off the one. Was it?
Oh, over in Cedros Design Center, or further up north.
Maybe. I think it was just a little further up north.
Okay, because I've had a lot of followers that have asked, where did you get that meditating garden art? But those, this is a little crested cactus. I'm not even sure what that is. I think we saw it's a euphorbia, right? Isn't that what the tag said? And yeah, I mean, in the summer months, you could slop a little water on them just to be nice, but they don't care really either. And bottom line is, with the exception of the mammillarias,
Right.
you can hit any of these plants with water anytime you want, and you don't need to worry about it.
This is beautiful here. It's a little different, you know? Kind of looks like some slow crawling.
That's another euphorbia, and common name is Medusa's wig,
Okay.
and flangani is its botanical name, and those little yellow flowers that you see coming are going to open, and it's really a pretty plant, and it isn't going to get a whole heck of a lot bigger than that. You seem to really be drawn to the euphorbias too, which is a huge genus, by the way.
Can you tell me about this one here?
Yes, your Yucca rostrata. The Yucca rostrata, yucca's a common plant, and people cringe when you say yucca, but the rostrata maintains its shape and size. It's a slow grower that can eventually compete with the Draco in height. I mean, it can get upwards of 15 or 20 feet tall. They may also throw off additional heads. To get one that has started to trunk is really, really difficult. So I was thrilled to find this.
When you mean started to trunk,
See, it's got that little trunk.
I see that.
Yeah.
Because it moved beyond.
Yes, most of the stratas that you get, because they grow so slowly, they haven't even started to trunk yet. So it just looks like a bush sitting on the ground. The fact that this one had a little bit going on was a bonus. But it'll grow like molasses in the winter.
Yeah.
It's just slow. But that's okay. I'm in no hurry for that to get bigger.
You also have a present to open too.
Oh yes. We'll get. So these are similar to the other ones, but this one is a little bit ready to flower.
Yep, that's your Aloe cameronii, and all aloes. This is another aloe. This is blue elf. They are winter bloomers, and the cameronii. Did we behead these? Let's see.
What does that mean?
No, there's some roots. We trim the roots severely because this
Oh, to get
This
the color is.
plant, when stressed, turns red. Red, red, red. It's a bush aloe, so its habit is to grow in a big giant bush, which we won't let it do. We'll keep it, I want to keep it more as a one-off. So when I come and do annual maintenance, I'll probably take the pups off.
I see. And the reason it gets red, is it trying to conserve something?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. That is just its reaction and response to stress. Most succulents will color. They'll pull more color as they get more upset. So if you want to come out and yell and scream at them or threaten them, it might also enhance the color.
Okay, that's cool. These are just beautiful, beautiful back here. These are just so colorful.
Right. Oh, this one, Nate, this
Yeah.
is Kalanchoe luciae. It's another monocarpic plant. It's going to throw off a long bloom stalk. It's not very interesting. And then the mother will croak, but she also will have thrown off many pups, most likely. So you'll cut the mother and you'll have, where there's one, there will be 6 or 7. It'll grow more as a clump
Yeah.
as time passes.
I love just the details of the horizontal.
Right. This rock is honey onyx,
Uh-huh.
and it's spectacular. You almost don't need plants when you've got rocks this pretty.
So I think as the time comes,
Yeah. We have a Hanukkah puzzle.
Yes, we've got a holiday gift.
so I don't know what's in here. My wife got this for me.
That's
It's the
right.
second
it's
night.
The second night. Yep.
Out on your
Day 2.
yeah.
Oh, this is exciting. Everybody loves
That's it.
presents.
I could guess, but I better not shouldn't.
Yeah, you should guess before you open it.
Not if he knows.
What?
No, I said not if you know.
I don't know. I think it is outdoor related because that's
Okay.
what we've been focusing on. But I don't think it's a plant. It doesn't feel like a plant.
Okay.
We had a few features. We brought out our lizard from the, let's see. Oh wow, let me just see what this is. It's an outdoor lamp.
Behind door number 1.
She was right. I'd like to come out here at night and it's dark, and we bought something that we took down that was not doing well. And yeah, so this we also yeah.
You can come and wait. It's pretty too. Look at that.
Oh, it's a lumineer. That's beautiful. How fun.
So this is kind of cool. So I don't know where.
And you can walk around with it too.
You know what? I bet we could use it by the chairs.
Yeah.
You know.
So the idea is that you...
Oh, it's rechargeable.
Excellent. Yeah, and it's just really, really lightweight.
My guess is it gives probably a nice white glow. Thank
so
you.
simplistic. Would love
Thank you.
seeing that at night. All
Oh,
lit
the
up.
night lights are great too.
Oh,
I
yes.
did ask Greg to put a spotlight behind the Draco. I don't know what you thought of that, but
Oh,
it
I
wasn't
loved
me.
it. The reason we didn't do that initially
Yeah.
is we didn't want to risk the light,
Light
shining
into the windows.
your window. So as a general rule, we don't face spots toward the house. But that looked amazing. That
Yeah.
Draco just lit up that entire wall.
Kind of like a Batmobile
Oh
symbol.
man, it was really spectacular. Oh, look at the kitty hand. So the idea is, you can call, you can text me anytime.
Right.
I don't expect every single plant in this garden to survive. Something invariably will croak. So don't be alarmed. It's usually something small. And oftentimes the other plants have already grown to the point where you don't even miss it. And if we need to come in and pop something in to replace it, we will do that. I'm not that far away.
Yeah.
But I mean, these plants are the closest thing to plastic in the horticultural world, and you should just absolutely enjoy them. Sprinkle with the hose, you know, give them a shower if you want anytime, because it's fun to kind of
Right.
spray off the rocks and everything looks so pretty wet. You can't overdo that. And you can do that or not do that. This whole garden is plumbed on subterranean drip, which Greg will set up before we leave. And you really don't need to make any modifications, even if it rains. People always want to turn their irrigation systems off when it rains. And in Southern California, if that rain penetrates a quarter of an inch of soil, we're lucky. So what happens when you turn the irrigation off
You
is you
forget.
invariably forget to turn it back on.
Right.
And with succulents, not such a big deal. But we don't want to lose the bougainvilleas either. So just let it ride. Don't be tempted to turn it
The
off.
bougainvilleas, what plant, what variety? They're not a cactus, are they? Or
No, these are not really, these are not cactus or succulent. And you know, I typically don't go off script like that. I'm kind of a purist when it comes to cactus and succulent, but this wall was screaming for it. And I had such success at my home in Chula Vista with bougainvillea, and the color just can't be beat. And I think they're fun.
Yeah.
So I'll work with you and help you.
Right.
Eventually, you know, we want to get to the point where we can train them to just grow more or less along the top of the wall. And we've got pink and we've got red and we've got purple and, you know, some different colors. We'll start fertilizing them in the spring, and you shouldn't have any difficulties with them at all. And we'll just, I think probably within 3 years, you should have some major changes and growth to the point where the plants at the base have grown to the point where that wall, it starts to shrink and you can't see it, and it's just this beautiful mosaic of plant and color. So
is that
that's
in
the
that
goal.
in the corner? Is that also bougainvillea?
Yes. Yeah, we had one extra. So we thought, why not? Let's put it there and see what happens. Which is pretty much my my plan and my strategy with everything. Let's just see what happens. Yeah.
This do again minimal water or no water?
Yeah, I mean, you can slop some water on those potted succulents if you want. They don't care, particularly in the winter. There's that marine layer, you know, and all the dew.
Yeah,
It's always
yeah,
wet
yeah,
when we
yeah.
come out in the morning, and they'll take that.
Watering your pots, so just make sure that you let them dry out before you water again.
Yeah, the watering of pots in the winter really isn't necessary, but if you do, no more than once a week, and just a shower.
Yeah.
We're not going to soak them,
Yeah.
just a shower to rinse them off. All right, well, thank you, Nate. It has been a pleasure, and I hope that you all benefited from this as well. This has been Laura Eubanks with Nate in Delmar Highlands, and your succulent tip of the day. Peace out, everybody.